This is actually my second project in my cybersecurity journey. So we are going to be setting up a lab today. So lab setup is to deploy a virtual machine in VirtualBox. So we already know that virtual machines are essential tools used to create isolated and visualized environments for running multiple operating systems on a single physical computer. These environments are valuable for various purposes such as software testing, malware analysis, and cybersecurity training. So virtual machines are very important in the cybersecurity journey. So some popular virtualization softwares include VirtualBox, VMware, and we also have Microsoft Hyper-V Manager. Okay, so what's the story behind this project? When a new virus begins spreading online, John, a malware analyst, turns to virtual machines to help him research the virus. By creating several virtual machines, John is able to study the virus in depth and figure out it works. He also tests different methods of removing the virus, eventually finding a solution that prevents the virus from spreading, all with the help of the virtual machine. Okay, so what's the exercise for today's project? In this exercise, we are going to be setting up a virtual box, then install two virtual machines, which is Kali Linux and Windows, and configure a NAT network to connect both VMs. And the learning objective, by completing this exercise, you will develop essential skills in using VirtualBox to create and manage virtual machines for various purposes. This exercise prepares you to work in various IT roles, including cybersecurity, where virtual machines and commonly used malwares are commonly used for malware analysis, penetration testing, and secure software testing. So, what do we need for this project? Number one, we we have to download a VirtualBox installer. So you can search on your browser and get a VirtualBox installer downloaded. Then Kali Linux OVA file. Make sure you download the OVA file and the Windows ISO file. These files are open source. That means you can just get them on the internet via your browser, right? Then so these are the processes we are going to follow in this stack. So we have to install VirtualBox and import Kali Linux OVA file. So in the next video, we are going to be following these tasks step by step. See you in the next video. Alright, so now we are going to move forward, and our first task here is to install VirtualBox on your computer. So you can just go to your browser and search VirtualBox, install VirtualBox, and you download VirtualBox. But for me already, my VirtualBox is already installed right here. So you can just search for this. This is the VirtualBox icon. Then the next thing to do is to import the Kali Linux OVA file into VirtualBox to create a new Kali Linux virtual machine. So I have to open my VirtualBox and import Kali Linux into it. So a new one. If you check here, I have another Kali here and I have Metasploitable. So we have to install a new VirtualBox. So sorry, a new Kali Linux. So I click on add, I click on add and I go to where I have my downloaded Kali Linux. Remember in the previous video I told us what to download already. So I've already downloaded them. I was checking this folder where it's saved, and what I want to install now is Kali. So I open the extracted folder and I click on the one I want to install. I can actually install any of these. So I choose this one, right? And I open. So here it is. My VM is already installed in my VirtualBox. So what is the next thing I need to do now? So we have we have to create a new virtual machine for Windows, also using VirtualBox. So I have to create a new virtual machine again, which is Windows, right? So I've already downloaded the Windows 7. I've already downloaded the Windows 7 ISO file, so I have to import it into my VirtualBox. So I click on new and I go to ISO image and I click on order. I go to where I have the file downloaded, which is on desktop and SS folder, and I'll see Windows 7 64-bit ISO. So this is an ISO image, so I click on it and open. So here it is, Windows 7 64-bit. So I have to give it a name. Let me call it my Windows. Let me call it my Windows. So I give it a name and I click on next. Let's continue. So I click on after okay, let me go back. So after including the ISO image here, I click on next and I click on the username. I have to change my username, so let me use this as my username. So my username has to be the same with my host name. So let me just make it the same with my host name, my Windows. So for the password, I have to change the password to something. You can also change your password to something you can easily remember. So I do same here, change my password, and I think I'm done, and I click. Observe that my username and my host name is the same. Then I click on done. Then here I increase my base memory to 2048. This is okay. Then my processor to 2. This is okay. And I click on next, and I leave this setting to default. So I click on next and I click on finish. So yeah, I've successfully installed my Windows VM, and right now the VM is powering up. So you can see Windows is loading files. So this will take a few minutes to load, and you should just be patient with it. After it is done loading, the system will need to restart, right? You know, a normal Windows 7 operation. So you can see that this my computer actually is Windows 10, and right now, because of the help of VirtualBox, I've been able to create multiple um, operating system in a virtual environment. So this is what it means to set up labs, right? So setup is starting, so we'll give it some time to do so. So you can see now, so these features, this setup will take some time. So right now it's copying Windows file, then after it's done copying Windows file, it will expand Windows file. Is beginning to expand Windows file, install feature, install update, and complete installation. So when installation is completed, your Windows will come up. So let's give it some time for it to finish. Okay, so our Windows is successfully installed now on our VirtualBox, and it is running. So we move on to the next task. So let's see what the next task is. So we have already created new virtual machine for Windows using VirtualBox. So now we are going to set both virtual machines to use the NAT network setting for network connectivity. So how do we do that? We go back to our VirtualBox. First of all, you turn off the let's turn off the machine first of all. So we power off the machine. So now the machine is powered off. So they say set both networks to use NAT network. So let's start from the Windows. You go to your setting, then you go to networks, then change it from NAT to NAT network. Then come down here in advanced and allow all. Then click on OK. You successfully change it. Do same for your Kali Linux. So go to your setting and go to networks, change it to NAT network, and advanced you click on um, allow all, then OK. Then you have successfully set the two networks to NAT network. What's the next thing to do? It says start both VMs and ensure that they boot up correctly, right? So let's do that now. So I'm going to start the Kali Linux. So I click on start, you see powering VM up, so it is starting up Kali for me. So you can see it's booting. Okay, depending on your system processor, it will determine how fast it will boot. So mine is powering up right now. Okay, so it's going to bring up a login interface. Let's give it some time. Alright, so here our username will be Kali and our password also will be Kali. Alright, so our Kali Linux VM is up and running successfully. So let's go back to power up the Windows. You click on Windows and start. So start Windows normally. You can just click enter on your keyboard and start Windows. So give it some time to come up and we'll move on to the next interface. Sorry, the next task. So the next task is to ensure that both VMs are assigned a different IP address. We are going to do that in the next video. So our Windows will boot up successfully. Let's just give it some time for it to boot up. So just be patient with it. My system is a little bit low in RAM, so yours might not take this much time. So I'll pause the video and see you in the next video for the next task. Okay, now we want to check if the two virtual machines has different IP addresses. So you click on your start button on your Windows and type in CMD to bring up the command interface. Then you type in ipconfig on your command interface. This will bring up your IP address. As you can see, that's the IP address for the Windows, right? So take note of that IP address. Then let's move on to Kali and check if the IP address is different for that of the Windows. So you include your password Kali, right? Then open your terminal, right? Opening your terminal, you also search for, just insert an if config. On Windows you did IP config, here you do if config. That's if config. Then you see that the IP address of the Windows and of this one is different. So our virtual machines have different IP addresses on the same NAT network. So now the next task is to ping ping Kali from Windows. So from Windows, ping Kali. So let's go back to our Windows VM and we are going to ping Kali. So just type in ping, then the IP address of the Kali, right? Remember the IP address of the Kali Linux. So we ping the IP address and we'll see whether we will receive signals. So you can see that 4 sent and 4 received. That means there is a connectivity, right? So there is a response and there is a successful connectivity. So this will be the end of the project at this point. So thank you very much for watching, and do well to follow me as I'll be dropping some more videos as we learn together. See you later.